All right, Coach. Thanks for having me. This is pretty cool what you're doing. Introduce myself. My name is Matt Berndt. I'm the defense coordinator at Olentangy Orange High School, which is north of Columbus. My contact information. Would love to hear some feedback. Love to contact with anybody out there that's watching this. A good way to contact me is also on Twitter, Coach Berndt21. It's my handle. So we are pretty active at Olentangy Orange. We try to be on Twitter. So please reach out to me. So today I want to start. We're going to go through our four-man front, the under defense, which is probably a little bit different from the way most people, not all, but most people align their four-man front in a 4-3 defense. But we've done it. I was at the St. Francis Sales High School in Columbus for 8 years, and I've been at Olentangy for just finishing our 6th year. So we've been running the under defense for a long time here. So some of the things I want to go over today is how we are defending the 10-11 personnel, the spread stuff from our four-man under front. Okay, so some of the things I want to talk about is our base alignment, our coverage variations, the 3x1, 2x2, and 2x1. And then I want to give you guys, if you want, some of the more basic blitzes or our blitz philosophy that we use out of it. So, guys, so our core philosophies on defense and is what we do in week one is the same thing we do in the playoffs. We try not to get too fancy. We feel we are best when we are doing what our kids know and do well, and which means we don't change a whole lot week to week. We tweak, we wrinkle, but we do what we are good at. I've had years. This is me almost being 40 now, and looking back and what I was doing when I was in my 20s and early 30s, and feeling like I had to out scheme everybody. And the reality is, for us, is we are best when our kids outplay the other kids. Because if I got to outcall some of the offense coordinators in our league, we're going to lose. So it's about letting our kids line up and play fast. One of the other things we do that we feel very strongly about is that we work in small groups more than we do individual drills. So we work in groups of 3 as much as possible, which means our coaches have to coach multiple positions, which I think is really unique. And maybe not, I hope not, because it's been really good for us. But, having our D-line coach work with our linebackers, and having our linebackers coach and outside linebackers coach be able to coach and work with our defensive ends. And, our inside backers coach has got to be able to know enough about how our nose and tackle play and their technique that we can give our kids up, so to speak, to work with the other coaches. So that's been really good for us, and that's kind of a staple of what we do in practice. And you're going to see a theme here, hopefully, that for us it's all about being great teachers. You don't have to have great content knowledge. You don't have to have 6 guys on defense that can out scheme the other coach. We just have to have 6 guys or 5 guys on defense, being great teachers, right? So again, going back to letting our kids play confident, one way or the other, it's about getting the ball back to the offense. When I was a younger coach, it was all about getting 3 and outs, but lately, we've done such a good job. One of the reasons we've had a lot of success is we've been able to create turnovers. And I think that comes from simplifying on defense and letting our kids play confident, play fast. And then we get to coach things like pursuit and tackling and turnovers more than we get to coach, 38 or 27 different coverages. So, and then the last thing, we have a brand on defense, and it's something that started about 3 or 4 years ago, and we call it Let's Run. And I'm not going to try to preach to you about what our brand is, but I think it's important that you guys have a brand. And I've just seen firsthand the benefits of, having something that your whole staff, your entire defense, and really your program believes in, and you can go back to. And for us, that's aligning right and running the ball. We call it Let's Run. Okay. Put this up here because these guys are good guys. You can find them on Twitter. But the really cool thing about it is we have great teachers on defense, um, and our staff in general. Coach Schroeder, Zeb Schroeder, our head coach, has done about as good a job as you can, and just getting good people and good teachers. And not all of us are great football minds, but they're guys that kids relate to, and they're great teachers. You can see here, Chris Sansbury, is a middle school intervention, and I think one of the things that the most important thing we can do for our program is have a guy like Chris Sansbury who works in the middle school and kind of becomes a big brother to these kids in their sixth, seventh, eighth grade years, and that they can go back to and lean on as they go through high school. Matt Laddick is a former head baseball coach. He's a high school health teacher. Justin Malovic, he could coordinate both sides of the ball. He's an elementary phys ed teacher in Delaware City Schools. Bart Leist is a high school government teacher down at Canal Winchester. So you can see, Chris Sansbury, Justin Malovic, Bart Leist, those guys are teachers, but not in our building. And then Jesse Tierney is in our building. He's our defensive backs coach, and he's an AP U.S. history. So just a collection of really good teachers on our staff. So let's get into what we do. So this is core principle, and we can go a 3-man front, we can go a 4-man front, we can do whatever. What we do may change, but our philosophy is not going to change. And one of the things we build our defense on is the idea that we are a field defense. We did a study a couple years ago, and about 85% of our game is played the ball snapped from the hashes. And I just kind of did some self-reflection, and I'd have to be stupid. I'm not calling anybody stupid, but I'd have to be, an idiot if I don't take that into consideration on what we do on defense. So we play a field defense, and especially with the high school hashes as wide as they are, that changes what offenses can do. Every ball in the NFL is essentially snapped from the middle of the field. Kickers in the NFL, they're kicking everything from essentially the middle of the field. Our kids aren't. Our kickers are kicking from weird angles, and going back to offenses, you got 2/3 of the field to the wide side of the field 85% of the time. You got somewhere between 17 and 18 yards, and then you throw in the fact that some of these spread teams have these massive splits. You're starting to look at space from the sideline to the edge of the tackle. You're cutting down to 11 yards. And so that's, the old cliche, the sideline is the 12th defender, but in the high school game, that's essentially, that it is, critical that you understand that, and we understand that, and our kids understand that, especially into the boundary. And then on top of that, our players, because we are a field defense, the ball is tackled, and our field players automatically just go to the wide side of the field. We don't have to make a field call or a wide call or whatever you want to call it. Our kids just know, hey, I lined to the wide side of the field. This ball was tackled on the hash or outside the hash. I'm going opposite. Or our boundary players, they know where to align. We don't have to, give them a call to align them. And then it cuts down for us teaching. So in practice, we use that. So our boundary players are constantly working in small spaces. Our field players are constantly working, with 2/3 of the field. And we practice that way, and we play that way. It just maximizes our learning. So this is how we align. This is just a 3x1 set, and just going over some of our base alignments, base structures. So we do a lot of pressing our corners if we can. We don't always press our corners, but there's going to be a part later in this presentation where I talk about why we press our corners. But pressing our corners allows us to do some really what I think are cool things. We started doing this 3-4 years ago. But going across the front, you see our underfront here. So we play our nose in a 1, and our 5 is always to the field. So we usually put up, our best lineman, our best defensive lineman is our 5. That's because, he's always to the field. He's essentially aligned in the middle of the field. He's got to be able to keep contained. He's got to be able to set an edge. But the really cool thing for us is when we identified what types of players we're looking for with our safeties. And it used to be when I ran under at the sales in my first handful of years here at Orange, is that our strong safety was, he was the downhill player. He was that big physical linebacker that can move well, and we have totally flipped our philosophy and who our strong safety and free safety are. Our strong safety is essentially another corner. He's a kid that's got to be able to run well. He's got to be able to cover. He's got to play in a lot of space. And our free safety is essentially another linebacker. And we do some different things coverage wise to kind of free up our free safety. Because if you look at our weak side, this is where everybody's going to run. And we see that over and over and over again. So the more we can sneak our free safety downhill to get him involved in the run game, the better we are. So we are going to put our better coverage guy at strong safety and our better run player at free safety. So here's how we align. If it's a 2x2 set, all right. So notice, it's a 2x2 set. Our backers are bumped to the weak, and we're a one-man box. But our Sam and our Will, they are, itchy trigger guys. That we try to teach them as much as we can to, you can't get back in the box fast enough. So there's the 2x2 set. And then one of the biggest things for us is, especially in our four-man front, is playing off our H-back. And, as you can see, if the H-back, we call him an H-back, you can call him whatever you want, off the ball Y, whatever. People call them different things. For a common language for our kids, we just call him an H-back. And if he's to the strength, our backers are bumped strong. And if he's to the weak, our backers are bumped weak. I put on there pause or trigger. Our Sam linebacker, he's going to read, the quarterback. And if he gets his back post snap, he's going to trigger into the box as fast as he can. He becomes our big gap player. And our 5, I'm talking over here, our 5 becomes our edge player right now. Okay. And then you can see over here with the H-back to the strength, you can see our backers bump weak. And now our free safety is a little bit more, if anything comes weak, he's ready to roll downhill right now. I've got an example here. Running through this the other day, I was thinking, there's a couple different ways you can play your linebackers. And I started coaching linebackers a handful of years ago. And one of the things that at the Ohio clinic, I listened to Randy Bates and Phil Parker talked back to back, and they had total different philosophies on how they play the linebackers. Randy Bates, when he was at Northwestern, he wanted his backers filling downhill and shooting gaps and sprinting through gaps. And Iowa, those guys, they want their backers playing a little bit more slow and building the kind of wall at the line of scrimmage. And we're a little bit more Iowa in that sense. And you can see our Mike backer here, working downhill, but he's keeping his shoulders square. This is the Bryce Houston kid. He's now at Ohio University, but he's just keeping his shoulders square. And that's a win for us. And I know it's a 1-yard gain, but this is a win for us because it gets a team into second and long. But this is an example of how we play off the H-back. Okay, so as soon as he goes to the weak post snap, our Mike, our Will, they're going to play to the weak side. And we go to the end zone view here. I think you can see a real good look at how our free safety is staring down the H-back. And as soon as he goes to the weak post snap, we treat him like a pulling guard, and he is over the top right now. So that's been being able to align off the H-back and then play off the H-back has been a critical thing for us while our linebackers stay square. All right, just another example here of playing off the H-back. You can see him opposite the running back, and now he's not crossing the formation. So now it frees up our linebacker, our Mike linebacker, a real good run-through lane here to take his shot and work inside out. And this is another example of why we play field defense. You don't have to have, the 5-star. We've been very lucky. Our 5 technique for a couple of years was, the kid at Ohio State, 5-star. But, the kid that replaced him is this kid. And, Baby Huey here is all of 5'9", 185 pounds, playing Division I football, and teams are still going to run to the boundary against us. Playing off the H, and he goes weak, and we've got an unblocked free and an unblocked Mike linebacker to the point of attack here. Got a good view here, and you can really see our Sam linebacker here. Okay, as soon as that H, he's going to slide back inside. He's going to play any cutback and check quarterback player, which allows our defensive end here to really play fast down the line. Okay, another example, you can really see how tight our Sam linebacker is, itching to get back to the box. And as soon as that H goes wide, you can see our Will's in a foot race to beat him. You just make that ball cut back inside again. Because of the under front, there's no linebackers on the weak side to climb to the Mike. So that's been playing off the H-back has been really good for us. And now just an ISO, so showing examples of the H going weak, the H going strong, and now we just get an ISO, for us. And I think our Sam's a little late, but he should be fitting inside the end here as well. I'm talking, he should be triggering back inside this B gap to play B gap with the Sam is how we play that. It also helps the time just to have a Mike that wants to take that on more than the fullback. But again, you've seen all these examples. It used to be guards, now it's the H-back. Take you to the play every single time. Okay, and then one of the other things it does is it allows us to play this power read or bash or whatever you guys want to call it pretty well. So this is Westville Central, and they're always loaded with athletes, and it just gives us good angles. The number 2 receiver here, he's got to choose. Does he want to go down on the Sam, or does he want to go base and stalk the strong safety? As long as those guys are playing off each other, he can't be right. And that's just a core philosophy for us. I like this one because we end up getting a lot of this. It's better from the end zone view, which you'll hear in a second or see in a second. You can really see the Sam linebacker aspect itching to get inside. Okay, because go to the end zone view here, we see a lot of false keys because we are old school a little bit in the fact that we read guards. Our linebackers are going to read guards more times than not. So you can see here, guard pulls. You can see he's going to pull by his stance, right? So he essentially takes our Mike, but as soon as our Mike leaves, our Sam's right there to replace him. It goes back to our idea of we work in threes. We'll do this 100 times in practice with our 5, our Mike, and our Sam, working these types of things and those threes working together. Even though they're all coached by different guys, super, super important. And then you get in the false keys. We'll have some different ways to read if we start getting a lot of that. Okay. So from our base alignment, we always line up in base, and that's one of the things that I know some people get paranoid about, and I used to as well. But you know what? It's more about our kids playing fast than it is about deceiving the other team. So we line up in base as much as we can, and really everything starts in base. But, we can zone or man blitz. We can change our coverage. We can just play our base defense. But it all starts with us telling our players on the field, hey, yeah, I know we called a different coverage. I know we called a different blitz. Okay, because 80% of the time we are going to be on our base defense. But, okay, where would you line if it were base? All right, and now you got to go post snap and get to where you're going, or you got to walk into your blitz or your coverage. But we're always going to start from our base defense. And then one of the things, and this is for maybe some of the younger coaches out there, if we can't run it from our base alignment, then we're not going to run it. And I'm going to get into something later in some blitz stuff that, talk about some confidence things. But if you can't run it from your base alignment, Okay, because the coaches we play, as soon as you do something a little bit different, they're going to see it. You might get away with it the first time, but by the third time, right, you're not going to get away with it. Okay, so one of the things we've really done is, especially to the field, we try to press our corners. And one of the things that it does is obviously teams don't throw to number one in trips, and that's whole cliche. And teams will take a shot every once in a while, but it takes number one to the field out of the game. And one of the other things it does is it allows our Sam linebacker to play more inside. The trickle effect that has across the field has allowed us to do some really cool things. So because our field side corner is pressed a lot of times, that idea that maybe we're in cover two, maybe we're in some sort of trap coverage, it takes away that screen game. It takes away that wide run. At least, it puts a little bit of pause into an offense coordinator's mind, maybe, or the quarterback knows he doesn't have that, field side, quick, easy, outlet hitch. Then we disguise our coverages a little bit because we can still, we can just straight man them up. We can at the snap, bail them out of there and still play zone. We can trap them, and then you're going to see what that does to the screen game. Okay, so pressing that field side corner has been really good. And the other good thing about it is, I'll say this, is you don't have to have a great corner to do it. And I know the kid you're going to see on the screen looks like a really good player, and he what he is he's a flyer. He's that track kid that he can just flat out run. And one of the things you do when you play press corner, all his teaching is what the team's going to do against you. All right, they're going to run verticals, right? So all he's got to do is work on his releases and then turn and run and use his God-given speed. And then we press to the boundary less than the corner or less than the field, but what that does, it helps us disguise coverages. We play more coverages in the boundary than we do the field. We can corner blitz, which has been so important for us. And then, he's going to be a little bit more in the run support. So our boundary side corner, a lot like college football, is probably our better corner, and then gets our best on their best. And we can help him if we need to. There have been times where, our kid's been pretty good, but he hasn't been good as the other team's number one. So maybe we give him some help with our will backer on inside help or our safety over the top or something. Okay, so those are the advantages for us. Why we press our corners. And then holistically here, again, it helps us with our screens. We know we got to play the curls and the shot plays. So it's kind of helped us knowing where we're going to get attacked. And then everybody else on our defense, you get eyes on the quarterback. Okay, and get eyes in front of you, which helps both for turnovers and in the run game. Okay. So this is going through some screens here. So this is just 3x1. You can see our press corner down to the field. So what that does is it doesn't allow our Sam to get cracked on. And it's an easy play. And this was one of our more talented defenses we've had. This kid was we love this kid, but he is not the swiftest athlete around. So by pressing our corners, it forced him, he's not going to get cracked on by number one. So you got to screen to one of these guys, or, you got numbers one way or the other. If they're both going to block and they're going to throw it to the running back, then you got a safety. So we got numbers across the board, and we've got angles because nobody's cracking on anybody. Okay, and there's a saying around here that you can't play Sam linebacker for us if you get blocked by number two. And our outside linebacker coach, it's kind of changed over the years, but Coach Roth, who's now coaching on the offense side of the ball, our special teams coordinator, he did a great job with these guys. They just practiced all day long whipping two. So this is a nice little, dip and rip, just turning his shoulders and nothing fancy about it. But the press corners, we don't get cracked on. And then going back to the brand thing, this is you just see we just get kids to run the ball, and our Mike linebackers wrong here. Should be over top number threes. Our Mike's running into our 5 technique, but our free safety. And I'm gonna stop it right here. One of the really cool things for us is we got 9 guys running the ball, and then we got 2 corners that understand their role in this. And hey, get to the middle of the field at 25 yards. Well, that's pretty cool. And you're the halfback pass player, so you stay deep, and then you got 9 guys that can run to the ball, which is something you drill and drill and drill. It's really cool when you get to see it on film, as we all know. Okay, so here's another. We're pressing, trips here. Okay, again, teams are trying to get the numbers advantage, and yeah, it helps to have a kid like that, that can work down the line. And I'd love to tell you that was coaching, but it's not. We all know that. I mean, this kid's, started in the, Ohio State's championship or semifinal game this year as a true freshman for a reason. But I put this on here not to make it the Zach Harrison show it on you, that if Zach's not there, it's still a 2-on-none tackle. We've got leverage on the outside, and this is a DB. This is our sub package here. So this is another DB playing outside linebacker, which has been good for us. So we can get a fifth defensive back on the field, and we've got a Mike, beating block in space. So even if our 5, because most teams, and we don't anymore, have a 5 that can run down the line like that, we're still in great shape. Okay, and again, to me, that comes from you can't crack with us having press corners. All right, and if you do, then it's a big play for us. So then in a 2-by-2 look, okay, the trickle effect would be the Mike linebacker gets to play in the middle of the field, and he gets to play weak side A gap with the weak side guard, the weak side tackle in the center covered up with linemen. And it allows our, so if the strong side guard, and I'll show you in here in a second, if the strong side guard climbs to the Mike, there's nobody for the Sam, and he doubles on the nose, then you've got 2 backers unblocked. Hope I'm not talking too fast here. Okay, so that's been the trickle effect for us by having the press corner in a 2-by-2 set. And then we're still working in 3-man games. So our Sam, our field corner, and our strong safety are still working together. Our Mike linebackers now working with our nose, our 3, and our, Mike. Those 3 are working together, and our weak side end and, our Will are working together. And we're just constantly trying to find ways that we can work in 3s, which is, great for us in practice. So, okay, so here's our, you can see here, sorry, this is still 3-by-1. Okay, again, this is screen, so I don't know what happened here. Okay. Okay, so here you go. Here's your 2-by-2. Okay, a little bit different here, what we're doing here, but he's off the ball, but really I'm looking over here. Okay, and being a 2-by-2 allows our Will and our Sam, our Will and our Mike, okay, to work now to the weak side. Okay, and our strong safety and free safety, they're working to the weak side because we can take him out of the game. Okay, and if you're going to make that throw and catch, so be it. Okay, but you're not going to do it, 6-7 times a game. Okay, so what this does is, boom, gives us that nice, easy run through lane. Because like I just talked about, there's nobody for the Mike. Okay, and this was something that, this is Liberty, and they do such a great job, and they're so well coached, and they've had our number for so many years, and this was an adjustment that was really good for them specifically, just being able to play the Mike to the weak side. And again, for me, the trickle effect of pressing your corner, playing your Sam more inside, allows your Mike to play across the field. Okay, the end zone view of it. Boom. And just a nice inside out, no cutback. Okay, there's our let's run. There's our pursuit. Okay. So 2 high coverages, I'm not going to go at length here about all the different 2-by or 2-man or 2 high safety coverages, because everybody runs them and everybody runs them, runs the same ones. It's just kind of which ones are you good at, which ones do you choose. So, but what I like about the 4-man front is all our adjustments are made on the back end. We have a menu of coverage. It seems like a lot, but because we play that field side defense, our strong safety only has to learn 2 or 3 of them. Our free safety only has to learn 2 or 3 of them. Our field side corner really has to learn two of them. Our boundary corner only has to learn two or three of them. From a teaching standpoint, it's been really good for us. And again, we put them in camp, and we put them in the summer, and just those are the ones we play in the playoffs. Okay, so the teaching is minimal for each player, more for the coaches, which is good. All right, less for the players. And then we game plan the coverages. We go in and say, hey, we want to play mini and 3x1, or we want to do this. This week we want to play, palms against all, both sides 2x2, or whatever we want to do. It's built in. Okay, and then the biggest thing is communication is everything. Communication is everything. I got this. One of my favorite books is Legacy. It's about the Australian All Blacks rugby team. If you ever get a chance, watch the All Blacks Amazon Prime kind of documentary. It's freaking awesome. But the biggest thing for me is that there's no coaches on the field. So on the training grounds, that the coaches have to teach the players the game plan, because the players make the calls in the games. And just adapting that philosophy is awesome. So we're not teaching 78 different coverages. We're teaching 2 or 3 different coverages, and we're teaching our kids in film on the field, hey, this is why. We teach our kids our why. This is why we're playing this. So when we get into our game, we let our kids make those, have the confidence to make those adjustments or coverage calls. Okay. So too high, our menu here, we just count. If you can count to 3, you can play in our defense. So if there's one skill, we can play quarters, we can play man, we can play, hard cover 2. If there's 2 skills, we can play quarters, we can play man, we can play, we call it something else just for our kids, but everybody calls it palms. If it's 3 skill players, we have our trips adjustments, which is which for us is teaching palms again. And it goes back to our sub package, and I pointed out earlier, if we can take our Sam linebacker out of the game and put in another corner, now we can play any coverage we want. And we're still teaching the same thing. We don't have to teach our Sam linebacker how to play corner. We just put in a corner, and all we have to do is have a coach in the box watching personnel, substitutions on the other team. And because, again, go back to we make a field call, right? We always have the same players working together. Okay? And that is, again, huge for us. Okay, so this is, just some palm stuff here, just showing, the advantage. This game right here, not that anybody cares out here, this is a game that we blew a 3-touchdown lead in the fourth quarter. And, you got to give a lot of credit to, Olentangy Liberty, but you talk about a missed opportunity here. I mean, this is the ball game right here. This is a house call. All right. So, but this is just our palms coverage here. Okay. And, in palms, looking down here at the bottom, this is our weak side. You see this, our 3, our we call them our crash, but our weak side end. You can really see our Sam here, right? Cheating to play B gap. So our B gap is going to be shared with these 2 cats. All right, so he is an A to B player. All right, but from a coverage standpoint, press corner allows us to work in, work across. Okay, we're reading 2. You got 2 as soon as he comes out, and there it is. Boom. He should be breaking right now. He does a great job. Almost gets rewarded. Okay, so great opportunity there. Okay, so this is obviously what we call palms. Okay, and for us, pressing our corners allows us to do different things. Okay, so now we don't press our corners. Okay, this is the whole disguising coverage thing. Okay, again, you can see, sorry, if the film's jumpy here. Okay, this is our sub package. So that is a corner, and we just jump into a cover 3 here. Okay, and now we've got guys on guys, jump into a cover 3. You can see our free safety jumping down to get 3 across, and our free safety can just play the middle of the field. So again, but if you look at it here, pre-snap, we are in our 2 high safety defense. Okay, I know that he's cheating into it here, but hey, this starts in 2 high. Okay, and even when we do play cover 3, we can press our corners. All All right, so this is, again, one of the advantages of us being able to play different coverages, but always staying in the same alignments. And you see our free safety walking into it. Okay. Okay, so this is a good example here. So this is us playing mini, okay, with a press corner. So one of the things, press corners allows us to do is it takes him out of the game. So, our corners coach would basically say, just delete him, right? Delete him. So now we're going to look at this. There's number one, there's number two. And we got our strong safety, who I told you for us is the corner. And actually, this kid started at corner the year before. So there's our corner, the way we look at it, the way we teach it. There's our inside backer, and our free safeties over the top. Okay. And because we press, we can just main him up, and our Will knows, because this is his number one rule. If there's only one receiver, he's got back out weak. So we got everybody covered. We got an extra guy in the box. Our Mike has no pass support. Okay, but this is what we call palms. So we take him one-on-one, and we play palms to 2 and 3. We treat him like 1, treat him like 2. And for us, from a teaching standpoint, it's just palms. We call it mini because it's to the trip side, right? There we go. We just, right? They throw the hitch number 1. Okay, I know it's a first down, but, it's a 4-yard gain. Whatever it is. Okay, but this is just an example of how we play a little bit of a mini coverage. Again, you can see our communication, and I don't like this as much because of our, we're giving it away too early, but we're in good, we're okay. You need to see the end zone view of that. Okay, again, 2 by 2. Actually, I'm sorry, this is empty. So one of the things, teams are always, okay, how do you play 4-man front and still cover everything up in empty looks? Well, that's where we play mini to the field and palms to the boundary, right? And again, it teaches us, or from a teaching standpoint, it's our kids are seeing the exact same thing. Okay, for these two, it doesn't matter what's going on over here. They have 2 of the week. Hey, let's play palms. There's your inside help. There's your outside help. There's your over the top. We're going to throw the ball right here, and we can rally in this triangle to the field side, right? There's your palms on 1. Okay, there's your palms on 2, and we're just maining up. Okay, the true number 1 here, and we're just taking him out. Again, the rest of the defense is going to ignore the number 1 to the trips, treat this as 1, treat this as 2, and we are playing palms here on these 2. We're playing palms here on these 2, and again, it's the same teaching that we've been doing all year. And then from a screen standpoint, you can see how fast, okay, our free safety is probably a little too fast here because he should be over the top of number 1. Okay, but our corner can break with good leverage there. Okay, so mini playing palms to the field and then playing palms to the boundary is our empty adjustment. You can see we're doing the exact same thing here. Okay, but now we've pressed our corners or pressed our boundary corner, and again, we're just playing palms. Okay. You actually see our Sam linebacker kind of lined up, as a corner here because he's given too much ground. But like I said, he's not the fleetest of foot. That's all right. Okay. But again, just playing palms to both sides. Okay. Erasing number 1. Okay. To the field. And again, you see they're not throwing to him anyways. Okay, just another example. Again, this is our sub package. You can see number 8. Okay, again, I'm not putting this on here because the quarterback dropped it. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, I'm just showing you that these guys here, okay, corner, inside backer, corner, safety to the top. Ignoring him. He is not here. Okay, and if we can't win this one-on-one matchup, then we're in trouble. But again, what's he going to run? He's going to run something across the field, or he's going to run a vertical route, right? So all our kid has to do, and again, doesn't have to be a great football player, just has to be a kid that can run. We've all got track kids on our team that we don't know what to do with, all right? offense guys then become your jet guys, your 9 route guys, defense, they become our field side corners. Okay. Again, you can see how fast at the top here. Okay, because we are in palms. Okay, our corner let number 1 go because 2 comes out. All right, and we're in good shape there. Again, I don't care about the what's happening in the backfield right now. I just want to show you guys the coverage. You can see because of this, our strong safety here, he gets to play more in the middle of the field because he doesn't have to worry about getting over number 1. Okay. Kind of seeing the same thing here, right? And again, because we're in a true cover 2 here, this is one of my favorite plays because, your backers can just work crossing routes across to each other. And, I mean, as long as they talk them across, you get some easy shots on both of them because, just let them run to you. So many young linebackers want to chase the guy across the field, but we're in zone and our kids have a good understanding of what zone is. Don't chase. Don't chase. All right. I'll move on from the mini here, but you can see we can do it out of any sort of personnel group, but kind of seeing the same thing over and over again. And the good thing is, I said at the beginning, you're seeing teams attack us the same way, and these are 4 different games that we pulled up. Where I could find clips of us facing empty, but that mini adjustment for us has been such a strong adjustment for us to the empty looks, right? And then if they just run, because you're in, palms, you're in form of cover 2, you get, basically 5 hitches across the board. You got a corner on 1, you got the Sam on 2, you got a Mike on 3, you got a Will on 2, and you got a corner on 1. You've still got a guy and a guy, and the way it works out is you've got a guy and a guy, and it's 2, looks like 2-man because you got two high safeties playing over the top of everything, and you still have. Okay, we're giving up too much space here, but you can't see it on screen, but we still have a corner that's on number 1 up here, and this is the Sam. He should be tighter at number 2. All right, just making those things hard for an offense. Okay, because again, beating a dead horse here, right? Man here. Okay, we're playing man from an off alignment. All right, but he's got 1. Right, we're just giving him too much ground here. But 1st and 15 on their half of the 50. All right, we'll give that up. All right, so going into our pressure package. Okay, so again, reach out to me if you guys have questions or want some more film on that stuff. I'd love to give it to you. Pressuring package. Okay, number 1 rule. Okay, I have as a play caller, and this is I was not like this early on, and then I was so frustrated on the sideline, just go, why can't we run it right and all that stuff. But if I'm not confident we're going to run it right, I'm not going to call it. Plain and simple. If your base defense isn't good enough to call in the pressure spots in your season, you need to find a new defense. Because if I don't feel confident in calling anything else, then I'm not going to call it. Okay, so we got to run it. We've got to run it in practice. We've got to run all our coverages and blitzes in front of it to different motions, different sets, empties, unbalanced, all the different stuff that we can get from an offense. If our position coaches can't draw it, then I'm not going to run it, because if they can't draw it, they can't coach it. So if our corners coach can't draw up, how we're going to cover, 4 verts when we're bringing, a zone blitz and playing cover 3 behind it, then we're not going to run it, because that's just not going to work. I can come up and sit in my classroom all day long or on Sundays and Saturdays and drop the greatest blitzes in the world, but I can't coach everything. And if our coaches can't coach it, then we're not going to run it. Okay. So we have our base packages of blitzes that we run, and we probably have, probably 3 or 4 zone blitzes, 2 or 3 man blitzes that we run. And they're very similar in concept. We're going to run those all summer long. And then maybe we'll run a new blitz every week, but it's one, and we're going to run it 4 days, and we're going to do it in our walkthrough pregame. We and again, if we can't run it, then we're not going to call it. Okay, and then pre-snap communication is everything, because we've all been there with the up-tempo offenses, and we don't huddle on defense anymore. If you can't get it communicated, and your kids can't communicate it across the field, then you're in trouble. So you better have your calls that are easy for kids to communicate. And I like hand signals, and you can change those up week to week. But hand signals allow our coaches in the box and our coaches on the sideline to verify that we've got it. Okay. So one of the things that this is zone blitz. All our blitz coverages have the same concepts. Okay, so again, you can see us in our too high look, and we're trying to tighten this up the best we can. But if you look at, I'll pause it right here, and everybody gets excited like I do when I'm watching a clinic to see the full play out. But the reason I want you guys to see this, when your zone blitzes, and you're playing a cover three, your three underneath guys better have an understanding of leverage. And for us, there's 5 eligible receivers, and we get 2 vertical routes here. So our DBs are going to take those 2 vertical routes. Our underneath backers have to have a good understanding of which one of those guys I have and what's my leverage going to be. And you can play it any way you want. A lot of times we play it inside leverage or head up. You can play it any way you want. Rat teams can play outside leverage and feed the ball to the rat. You can do whatever you want, but your kids better have a good understanding of what leverage you are looking for in your coverage. And then your front guys have to have an understanding of really where's the pressure going to come from. And if I'm a pressure guy, then I got to go hard and create pressure. And if I'm not the design point of attack, I got to have a good understanding of where the release points are for the quarterback. Okay, so we coach. So this is our just a Mike linebacker off his edge and a moving defensive end. So we're trying to create pressure from the field side edge. Okay, but we do more coaching with our weak side guys, right? Understanding that, hey, let the pressure feed you the ball. Let the pressure feed you the ball, and have an understanding of, and so we use a lot of this film right here. What's the quarterback seeing? So he's feeling that pressure. Oh, where's his lane? So, hey, from a quarterback standpoint, right? Yep, there's your lane. So you better teach your nose how to cross face into the opposite A gap. You better teach your 3 techniques and everybody how to disengage and play an inside gap. And that closes real quick. Okay, and again, from a coverage standpoint, we've got a guy and a guy. Okay, again, you get into empty, run your blitzes. Why? Because our underneath guys have a good understanding of leverage. And if you want to whip the ball out to the number 1 receivers, okay, then so be it. But again, as we've all seen, that's not where the ball is going to go. Okay, so we call it, you run it, right? And from a coverage standpoint, we got leverage here, we had leverage here, and a high 3 show, and we're in good shape. Okay, so again, underneath guys, where is your leverage? Who are you leveraging off of? Right, boom, starts in too high, coming on down, right? Again, if you don't care what's happening in the backfield, right? We've got everybody covered. All right, again, whip the ball out to number 13. We'll rally and tackle. Yeah, you're an offensive guy watching this. Throw the ball to number 1 and short in the flat. Right, we'll give it to you all day long. All right. Okay, so my little tidbit here, okay, is to start to wrap this up. Right, we got this. We've always had it, but we never ran it. We didn't run it a lot. I was talking to I'm not a big name dropper guy. I don't like that, but we got this from I was talking to a defense coordinator in the Big Ten, just on a recruiting, he was in building recruiting. I said, if you were a high school defense coordinator, what would you do? And he said, dude, I would corner blitz all day long because of the wide side, the wide hashes. He goes, it's crazy. Okay. And we started doing it and it's been so good for us. Okay. So it goes back to the idea. It's not what you bring, but who you bring. And every blitz I just showed you guys, we only brought one extra guy. We got home and everybody's covered. Okay. Because the coverage is still safe. You get those DBs that, every DB wants to be a D lineman. Every D lineman wants to touch the ball, all that stuff. Everybody thinks they can do everybody else's job. But it's fun for the DBs because it gets them to do something different. And we still have a safe coverage behind it, okay? Because you really have two guys flipping roles, okay? That's it. You have two guys flipping roles, all right? And the blitz can change on your defense. One of the things I do, if I call a blitz, we run the blitz. I have a call that we can call it off, but that's my decision, okay? If I call it, our kids run it, all right? And then the blitz, one of the other things is we change our blitzes a lot of times, depending on the formation. What I mean by that is we change who blitzes, not what the blitz is. So we teach our blitzes holistically, so we can run it with different people. Okay. So, one of the things we do when, we have a corner blitz, if we get multiple receivers to that side, we don't want to run a corner blitz to multiple receivers. So it just changes the blitz that is the same, except it becomes our outside linebacker, not our corner. And you get big play potential out of it. So this is, a good example of changing the blitz. So right now we've got a blitz called off the weak side edge, right? And right now it's our will linebacker is going to blitz. This is our will, okay? And this is, our Bob, our weak side backer here. All right. So when they go in motion, right, you can see that one of my favorite things is one of my favorite plays of the game. This is week 1. Okay. And we've got two guys here that have never started a game before in their life. In fact, this kid didn't even start this game. He's a senior. He's never started. He's replacing an injured kid. And we've done this 1,000 times. And you can see the two of them talk. So he blitzes off the edge. Nobody to block him. He takes it in his face a little bit, but, it's a big play for us. Okay. So here's our corner blitz. Okay. It's, nothing fancy about it. You can see our leverage players, okay, are just different dudes. It's our Sam, our Mike, and our Will now. Okay. Our strong safety, free safety, and field side corner still playing cover 3. So from our Mike, our Sam, our corner, our strong, our Will, right? Nothing changes for those guys. These two just flip responsibilities. Okay. So we're going to creep and, we can hit this as flat. And one of the things we do is, I think it's important that when you're teaching blitzes, you're still getting a run pass read. So if our corner gets a run read and gets, he's got to know he's more off down the line player, flat down the line. And if it's a pass read, you got to give him an aiming point, on the quarterback, just like you would a defensive end in a contained rush. Okay, so again, when you're blitzing, I think it's super important. Hey, you better get a run pass read. You're gonna be running past, too many ball carriers because you just be out of control. All right, so this is obviously it's a little bit easier to run a corner blitz. So it was a short edge and to a nub look here, but you're running away, and this goes back to it's not it's not what you bring, it's who you bring. Go from the wide view here. So this is a rivalry game, so pretty awesome environment, and something like this can bring the house down. This was an intense back and forth game, and they run a little play action here, and there's nobody to block our corner. The two, look at it. Communication is everything. It's loud, right? They're on the opponent's sideline, so just go talk to them. And hit it hard and aiming points the back shoulder and, have a little fun with it. Something like that, changes the game. Here's a 1st and 10. Now the team's in 2nd and 20, and I'm not sure what happened on that drive, but I would imagine it ended up being a pretty positive thing for us. Again, short side of the field. Okay, so here's a couple years ago. This is a corner, or I'm sorry, this is a quarterback This is our starting quarterback that he didn't play corner all year. So let your quarterback's one of your best players. So you put him to the boundary and bring him. There's nobody to block him. This is again a rivalry game. And bring the house down. So big play potential here. Bring in the corner. Sorry, this is loading here. Let's see what we got here. Oh boy. All right, again, now doing it from a pressed look again from again, but now again getting a run read. We're getting a run read here, so he's flat down the line, becomes the C gap player. I mean, how many corners get to play C gap? So this is a fun thing, and the good thing is these corners, they're not going to have to do a lot of block destruction. And let them have some fun, creep into it, and you can see the rolling coverage behind, and big play potential. Okay, again, probably should have called this one off because we get two receivers, but again, big play, changing the game, just putting letting an athlete do something, be a player on the field, not over coaching, letting our kids win the game, not out coaching the other team. All right, I got one little thing here. We can zip through these. Is have a wrinkle. Find a way to get your best player involved in the game. Don't just have a Mike linebacker that's a really good Mike linebacker. If he's a game changer, let him be a game changer. Okay, and this comes with a little responsibility of your best player, but let your best players be your best players. Okay, so we've done this every year. We've identified the best player, and we find some different ways that he can be effective in a game. And then the teaching becomes minimal because you're changing one guy. It's fun for the kids. And then what we get to do on Saturdays and Sundays, we get to find the preferred matchup. So we get to put, our Mike linebacker in a pass rush against, the other teams, what we deem as the worst lineman, or find a way to get him on a bad blocking running back. And then we are vanilla, so it gives us a different look, and it maybe gives the other team a little something to prepare for since, we're aligned the same way. So one of the things we did this year, this was a real explosive player. Olentangy Orange, you see the first slide, we made the playoffs Division I for the last 4 years, but we haven't done it with a lot of really talented players. And we've got really good kids, don't get me wrong, but in 12 years as a program, we've had 2 Division I scholarship players. That's it. Most of the teams that we play have 2 every year, which is, good for them. And we hope to be that. But, we had one here as a 5 technique, and we had one here as a Mike linebacker. So let our twitchy players do something a little bit different. So this is just, we didn't teach him to go inside here, but, he did a nice, side swipe, hand, get his hands down, and pass game, run game. It was just a different look that Worthing and Kilbourne here hadn't seen yet. It just allows your kids to have some fun, be explosive. And when you put something like this in, kids get excited. They want you to call it. And then the first time you call it, this happens, then you feel a little bit more comfortable doing it. Okay, so same idea here, even against empty, so this is week 2. So Watterson had a chance to see it, but it's still a one-on-one. And again, he takes an inside move, or actually we played a game here and we twisted him. But again, this is just our mini coverage. Put a little pressure on the quarterback and play your normal coverage behind it, because you're teaching one kid something new. So you think about this, right? And the only kid we had to teach something new was our best player. And we said, hey, if we call this, you rush off the edge. If we call this, you give an inside move, right? Go be a dude. We put a corner in to play Sam, and we played palms here because that's what he gets coached to do. These guys are playing palms, which they've been coached to do from day one, and he's man on number 1. So you're teaching one kid, your best kid, something new. You play coverages you've been playing all camp ended up with a big play in a big game, right? Not because I did anything fancy, because our kids are playing confident. And our coaches did a great job of just teaching fundamental football. You know, and who the heck cares what it looks like when you've got two corners playing side by side, playing the exact same technique? But I'll tell you what, kudos to our corners coach, right? When you got two guys doing this exact same thing, it should look the same. And it does. And so kudos to Coach Tierney for, you know, the hours and hours they spend doing that stuff. But, you know, then this was, the following year, this kid, again, a 5-star defensive end. This is a pretty funny thing. Liberty had this jumbo package, so we thought, hey, let's just put some of our athletic kids and let them just eat up the lineman up front and take our best player and get him out of his comfort zone a little bit, let him play linebacker. He didn't know what the heck he was doing, and I'll tell you what, this kid is a freak athlete, but he looks pretty uncomfortable there at linebacker. And then the funny thing is, you turn on the Big Ten film this year and you see him, Ohio State doing the exact same thing with him. And, you just realize that let your kids have a little fun. We did this, I think, 3 times in a row, and he made 3 tackles, and we never had to defend it again. So that's let your kids have fun, no matter, put your players in the best spot to have success. All he was doing, he was reading number 52, and you see him staring at him. Whichever way 52 went, he went. Okay. So that's what I have for you guys. I hope you guys took something away from this. Again, my contact, there's my email if you want to email me, but probably a better way to get a hold of me is through my Twitter account. So I want to thank Coach Bandstra for letting me do this. It's always fun to talk a little ball, and this has been pretty awesome. He's been doing this during this time. So reach out to me if you want. I can share this with you guys. I share any more film you guys want. But Coach, appreciate you having me.